Hundreds of thousands of wildebeest know the rainy season is drawing near. Among them, also thousands are pregnant and ready to deliver. And within a 3-week time window, the whole year's calves will see the light. This massive amount of births is also influenced by the cycle of the moon. From the womb and straight onto Earth, this newborn must find the way to stand up on its shaky legs in no time. Of all the hoofed species, wildebeests are the fastest to get on their feet as their life really depends on it. The herd just cannot afford to stop moving, and a calf must be ready to keep up with the pace any time. The licking process shows mutual acknowledgement of each other's smell. Then the feeding comes next, and both now are united by their specific odour alone. It'll be crucial in the days to come. In such huge herds, getting lost is somewhat common for the inexperienced calves, and they can only count on their mother's careful protection. But the African plains teem with all kinds of danger. The voracious hyenas seem to have a penchant for young wildebeest flesh. Young calves are even better. So they linger around, biding their time. Instinctively, the newborns try to camouflage behind their mothers, and the crowded area might also be of some help. But at some point, the prowling hyena springs into action. And there's no other solution than to run. Two days after birth, and such young calves can run for their life as fast as an adult. Females don't leave without a fight to defend their babies. But it's just a matter of time and luck. Unfortunately, many of the newborns will be hunted down by some kind of predator anyway. This baby has escaped his first attack and heads back into the safety of the multitude as they all chase the rains. These many births in such little time is a way to beat the odds through life's ruthless selection, on which lets only the strong survive. And the story repeats itself as the calves take their first steps in the ever-moving herd, ready for another migration. This baby macaque's life has gone through some dramatic changes in the past few days. Throughout his mother's pregnancy, he's been snug up in the warmth of her womb. Now all of a sudden, the light of a new world has unfolded before his eyes. His mother will do everything she possibly can to take good care of her baby by grooming and protecting him relentlessly. The baby instinctively knows his mother's arms and his birthplace are the only certainties in the dangerous forest around him. The troop get out of the shade in search for food and a pool on the beautiful sandy beach. What better place than his mum's tummy to hang on to and take a first trip down to the shore? It feels so good to join everybody else and spot out tasty seafood while foraging along the shoreline. Being carried around has a few setbacks, like some occasional dunking here and there, but the baby manages to never lose his grip. A baby macaque can normally count on a somehow extended family. When he's 2 months old, it's time to take a broader glimpse at the world around him by riding on mum's back, now that his arms feel stronger. From here, he can have a better picture of what he needs to learn. Life is still too much of a mystery at this young age. His mum is still his only source of shelter and support. As social life goes on, it's inevitable to witness an ever-changing swing of friends and foes. This is quite a scary experience for the young macaque, and it's better to stay out of trouble. Once the turmoil is over, it's time to loosen up and rummage around for some more food. Making friends is rather critical, even at this age. Later in the future, some of them will become his best allies in these daily fights. The process of finding friends is a fundamental learning experience in order to become a successful member of macaque society. This grizzly bear cub has never experienced anything but the safety and warm hug of her mother inside the den, probably located somewhere underground and covered with inches of snow. But now that the temperature is more acceptable as the winter goes by, it's time for her first trip out in the open. These snowy wastelands will soon become a familiar path, and it all starts with following her mother's tracks. There are other families now coming down the mountains, and all for the same purposes. Inside the lair, the cubs have been gulping their mother's milk, whereas she hasn't seen any food for quite a while. Now it's her time to eat, and she has the whole family wade through the snow toward the best place ever to find food. Alaska's coastal rivers and rapids are crammed with salmon, and here is where many bears gather from all over the place. Protein and fat are such great nourishment to then produce more milk for the ever-hungry offspring. But it takes a lot of practice and experience to catch salmon, and that comes with time and patience. Without honing their skills, nothing is what some inexperienced end up with. The cubs learn by watching the mother's example as they stay around her, although frightened by the roar of the rapids. While she's focusing on grasping her salmon, one of her cubs has gone astray, and she hasn't realized it yet. The turbulence of the white water and the always belligerent males combined have turned this river into a place to avoid. Mother bear brings the catch to safer ground so that her youngsters can have their very first bite of salmon meat. Sure enough, they seem to love it. But for the mother, the terrible truth only now unfolds. Her missing baby is dead. Whatever happened to him would be hard to find out. He might have drowned or been attacked by some aggressive male. Good enough reason to decide to leave the scene with the other two cubs. Once away from the confusion around the river, the youngsters can start having their share of fun in the wide open spaces. The family will remain as such for the next 2 years. Fed and protected by their mother, the youngster will grow up strong and learn all that it takes to face the unknown out there in the wilderness, to then eventually be on their own. This female spotted hyena newborn is virtually blind, and although still crawling around her mother's den, she impulsively starts to show aggression toward her sister. As cruel as it may look, young sisters are the most dangerous foes to one another right after birth. At this early stage, she's able to sink her sharp teeth into her sister's skin, determined by the natural impulse to lead the pack. Another pup follows into the ongoing fight, yet being a boy, he should be spared by the more motivated sisters. Lots of male hormones run into a female hyena's system, and that is the reason why they are so inclined to aggressive behavior. In the clan, there's always a dominant bitch that will pass her status on to the stronger daughter. Thus, in the case of twins, the fight will unavoidably get fiercer. Suckling time is essential, hence a break followed by a truce is more than welcome. Generally, males always have an underdog status inside the clan, whereas the two females' leading position will be crucial as far as becoming the dominant matron. The instinctive fight for supremacy makes it hard on the mother to keep everyone at bay. It's about time to make acquaintances around the group. The process of growing together involves pups and the youngsters. It's part of that bonding development which will see them hunting together. But there's still a lot to learn about the world around them. The intense social life of the clan needs a strong hierarchy, which is constantly marked by the different members' smell and behavior. This family seems to be pretty united, which means the pups have a good chance to make it to adulthood unharmed. Again, this sort of endless training from day one is somehow forging these youngsters into what hyenas are known for. And not many rivals can really defy a united clan in their territory on the African plains. The minute caterpillar of an owl butterfly arises from a hatching egg the size of a grain of salt. As they come out of their egg cases, these caterpillars make their first meal from the leftovers. It's a very nutritious food supply, the first of many more meals to come. These youngsters have something in common with all caterpillars: eat at all times relentlessly. Eating this much makes the caterpillars grow out of their skin, which then has to be shed and replaced. This common crow caterpillar sheltered under a leaf hangs from his own silk to finalize the molt. When the old skeleton cracks up, youngsters slither out of the old skin as a new one has grown already. At first, caterpillars are incredibly small and thin if compared to their adult size, which is 20,000 times bigger. Basically, they turn into a swelling lump of protein. On the other hand, being this healthy means they can also become juicy bites for others. This youngster's only defense is to lay low and immobile. But it takes more than that sometimes. Camouflage is a caterpillar's only weapon to avoid unwanted attention. Some even have a natural talent for concealment, theatrical at times. The resourceful caterpillar uses a smart technique to avoid attack by building a sort of thick wigwam made of its own skill, combined with his peculiar leaf-biting ability. Only a limited amount of caterpillars make it to this stage. If so, they will have made it through incredible odds. It takes more than a few days for the caterpillar's body to contract and shape into a little beauty of nature called the pupa. Inside the hardened case, the caterpillar's body splits into separate parts to then open up and amazingly mold into its adult shape. Through this stunning transformation, the caterpillar exists no more as such. Adulthood has given it wings to fly and finally turned its crawling nature into that of a graceful creature, a butterfly.